Good morning, students. Today we are going to see about the third chapter, Rangas Marriage, written by Masti Venkatesha Iyengar. Ranga, the accountant's son, is one of the rare breed among the village folk who has been to the city to pursue his studies. When he returns to his village from the city of Bangalore, the crowds mill around his house to whether he has changed or not. His ideas about marriage are now quite different, or are they? So here we are going to see about Ranga. He was the accountant's son and he was considered as one of the rare breed. When I am saying rare breed, that means a person or a thing which is uncommon, which has uncommon characteristics. So here Ranga was uncommon among the village folk. Now let us see the chapter. When you see the title, some of you may ask Ranga's marriage. Why not Ranganatha Viva or Ranganatha Vichya? Well, yes, I know I could have used some other mouth-filling one like Jagannatha Vichya or Girija Kalyana. But then, this is not about Jagannath's victory or Girija's wedding. It's about our own Ranga's marriage. So here, when I am saying Viva, it means marriage, and when I am saying Vijaya, it means victory, and Girija is a female. So here we are not talking about Viva, we are not talking about Vijaya, or we are not talking about Girija, but here we are talking about our own Ranga's marriage, and hence there is no fancy title as per the writer's thought. Hosali is our village. You must have heard of it. No, what a pity. But it's not your fault. There is no mention of it in any geography book. Those sahibs in England, writing in English, probably do not know that such a place exists, and so make no mention of it. Our own people too forget about it. You know how it is. They are like a flock of sheep. One sheep walks into a pit, the rest blindly follow. So here the writer is talking about his own village. His village name is Hosali, and he is asking us whether we have heard about this village. But as per the writer, this particular village is so small that there was no mention of this village in any geography book, and that is why he is saying it is not our fault. Even the sahibs are the people who were the officers in England, and when they were also writing about the places, they also have not mentioned about this village. Even our own people, he is saying, not about the English people, but our own people too forget about it. One sheep walks into a pit, the rest blindly follow it. And then you cannot expect the poor cartographer to remember to put it on the map, can you? Now, who is a cartographer here? Cartographer is a person who makes the map. So here, or who draws the map. So he is saying that both the sahibs in England and the own people, they have not referred it anywhere. So we cannot expect a cartographer also to remember or to put it on the map. And so there is not even the shadow of our village on any map. Sorry, I started somewhere. Now writer is apologizing as he is saying that he went into the other direction, and hence says went off in another direction. If the state of Mysore is to Bharatvarsh. Now, what is the meaning of Bharatvarsh? Bharatvarsh is India. So, writer is saying that if the state of Mysore is Bharatvarsh, what the sweet Karigadabu is to Festival, then Hosali is to Mysore state, what the filling is to the Karigadabu. Now here writer is giving us the comparison of Mysore state to India, and Karigadabu to the Hosali. Now, Kerigadabu is a sweet, South Indian sweet, and it is a fried sweet, and it is filled with coconut and sugar. So, here he says that Hosali is to Mysore state, and what the filling is to the Kerigadabu. So, Mysore state is very important for our country, India, and for Mysore state, Hosali is very important, like the filling of Kerigadabu, a sweet filling, a very sweet filling of coconut and sugar, which is always made during the time of festivals. And that is why he shows here the importance of his village. What I have said is absolutely true. Believe me, I will not object to your questioning it, but I'll stick to my opinion. I am not the only one who speaks glowingly of Hosali. We have a doctor in our place, and his name is Gunda Bhatt. And he also agrees with the writer that he has been to quite few places. No, not England. If anyone asks him whether he has been there, he says, "No, Anaya." Now, what is the meaning of Anaya? Anaya means an elder person. I have left that to you. Running around like a flea-pestered dog is not for me. I have seen a few places in my time, though, as a matter of fact, he has seen many. Now, here, Anaya is an elder person, and flea-pestered dog is a dog roaming everywhere. A dog that does not stick to one place but keeps roaming everywhere. And what is the meaning of flea pestered? Flea pestered is infested by fleas and ticks which cause uncontrollable itching to the animals. So here the writer is saying about the doctor. The doctor is comparing himself that I am not like a flea pestered dog, and that is why he had seen a few places in his time, and as a matter of fact, he has seen many. Then writer again coming back to the some other topic. He's saying we have some mango trees in our village. Come, visit us, and I'll give you a raw mango from one of them. Do not eat it, just take a bite. The soreness is sure to go straight to your Brahmandra. I once took one such fruit home and a chutney was made out of it. Now, what is the meaning of Brahmandra here? So, Brahmandra is a soft part in a child's head where skull bone joins later. But here in this particular text, it means that it is used in a form of idiomatic expression, and it is conveying the meaning, the extreme potency of soreness of mango. So what the writer is saying, that once he took one particular mango fruit to home, he made the chutney, and then all the family members, they ate it, and the cough he suffered from that. Then he went for the cough medicine. Then the doctor told him about the special quality of the fruit. What was the special quality of the fruit? The special quality of the fruit was the soreness of mango. Just as the mango is special, so is everything else around our village. We have a creeper growing in the ever so fine water of the village pond. Its flowers are a feast to behold. Get 2 leaves from the creeper when you go to the pond for bath, and you will not have to worry about not having leaves on which to serve the afternoon meal. Now writer is talking about the creeper. When they go to take a bath in the pond, there is a creeper there in the pond, and the leaves are so big that they can pluck that particular leaf, and then they can serve the afternoon meal on that leaf. You will say, I am rambling. Now again, writer is coming back to the point that I am rambling. What is the meaning of rambling? Rambling is to confuse. Now here, a lengthy, confusing speech writer is giving about. Again, he is moving out of the topic. It is always like that. When the subject of our village comes up, But enough. If any one of you would like to visit us, drop me a line. Just write a line, a message of one line to me. I will let you know where Husal is and what things are like here. The best way of getting to know a place is to visit it. Don't you agree? Yes, we agree. If we want to know the place, we need to go to that place, we need to visit that place so that we can come to know more about it. So here writer is inviting all the readers that if you want to visit the place, you just drop me a line and I will tell you how is the place and what are the things like here. What I am going to tell you is something that happened 10 years ago. We did not have many people who knew English then. Our village accountant was the first one who had enough courage to send his son to Bangalore to study. It is different now. There are many who know English. During the holidays, you come across them on every street talking in English. Those days we did not speak in English, nor did we bring in English words while talking in Kannada. So writer is telling that he is talking about not of the present time, but he is talking about the past 10 years back. What happened 10 years back? In those days, people were not speaking English, they were not knowing English, and during that particular time, few people only go out of city to study. And during these days, you can come across so many people on the street talking in English. So now what happened 10 years ago? What has happened is disgraceful. Disgraceful here is he doesn't like what had happened. People mixing Kannada language with English. And the other day I was in Ramara's house when they bought a bundle of firewood. Ramarao's son came out to pay for it. He asked the woman, "How much should I give you?" "4 pies," she said. Now here writer is talking about one particular incident when the people mixing Kannada language with English, and that was disgraceful, not appreciable for him, and that is why he is saying that once Ramarao's son came out and he asked the woman how much he has to give for the bundle of firewood, and the lady said 4 pies, and the boy told her he did not have any change. Change means no extra money, and asked her to come the next morning. The poor woman did not understand the English word change, right? When we go out, when we pay for something, we need to give change. Sometimes we give 100 note, 500 rupees note, and that particular moment, whatever the money we receive back. So that particular money, which are remaining money, they are known as change. So here the boy said that he did not have change, so told that lady to come next day. Now the poor woman, she was not able to understand the English word change and went away muttering to herself. Here muttering means speaking to herself. She went away. I too did not know. Later, when I went to Ranga's house and asked him, I understood what it meant. So this was the condition 10 years back, and now the time has changed. This priceless commodity, the English language, was not so widespread in our village a decade ago. That was why Ranga's homecoming was a great event. People rushed to his doorstep announcing, "The accountant's son has come. The boy who had gone to Bangalore for his studies is here, it seems, and come, Ranga is here. Let's go and have a look." Now people were running towards the accountant's house because in those days English was a priceless, that was a very important language, and that is why people, when Ranga came back to his village, the people were rushing towards his home. They wanted to see Ranga, that let's have a look, how is he? Attracted by the crowd, I too went. The writer is saying that when crowd was rushing towards Ranga's house, the writer also went and stood in the courtyard and asked, "Why have all these people come? There is no performing monkey here." Writer was angry on the people because they were rushing inside like anything. They were pushing each other to see the boy. And that is why he said that there is no performance of monkeys going here. One particular man shouted, "A boy!" A fellow without any brains said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Why they are going? No monkeys performing, but who is there inside? A boy is there inside." "What are you doing here then?" A youngster, immature and without any manners, thinking that all these things were now of the past, I kept quiet. Everybody was pushing inside, they wanted to rush inside to see the boy, and now they were talking to each other so loudly and they were moving. Seeing so many people there, Ranga came out with a smile on his face because the house was small. It was not possible to accommodate so many people. So Ranga came out from his house with a smile. Had we all gone inside, the place would have turned into what people call the black hole of Calcutta. Now, here writer is saying that the house was so small and there was a huge crowd waiting outside for Ranga, and if everybody would enter the house, how it will become? It will become like a black hole of Calcutta. You know what is the meaning of black hole of Calcutta? Black hole is a Fort William, where black hole is a Fort William. In that there is a dungeon, and that particular dungeon was made underground for the prison. In that dungeon there was a cell. Cell was made for the prisoners, and this particular prison or the cell was known as black hole because it was such a small place and so many people were kept inside, so they died of suffocation due to the lack of air, lack of oxygen. People died there. So here writer is also comparing the Ranga's house to black hole of Calcutta. Thank God it did not. Everyone was surprised to see that Ranga was the same as he had been 6 months ago when he had first left our village. An old lady who was near him ran her hand over and looked at his eyes and said, "The Janivara is still there. He hasn't lost his caste." She went away soon after that. Ranga laughed. Janivara is a sacred thread. It is also known as Jannoi, which is worn by the Brahmins, and it is called a sacred thread. So here one old lady, she came ahead, she ran her hand over his chest, looked into his eyes, and then announced very loudly that still he is wearing that sacred thread which is worn by the Brahmins, and that is why she went away by thinking that okay, he hasn't lost his caste. And as soon as Ranga, when he heard this, he laughed. Once they realized that Ranga still had the same hands, legs, eyes, and nose, the crowd melted away like a lump of sugar in a child's mouth. See what humor the writer is using here. Right? When people saw Ranga, he was having the same hands, legs, eyes, and nose. So there was no change in Ranga, and that is why slowly they started moving away from that place as if there is a lump of sugar, a piece of sugar in a child's mouth, or a chocolate in a child's mouth, slowly melting in the mouth. I continued to stand there. The writer was still there. After everyone had gone, I asked, "How are you, Rangappa? Is everything well with you?" It was only then that Ranga noticed me. He came near me and did a namaskara respectfully, saying, "I am all right with your blessings." Here, when we say Namaskara, that means he has joined his hands and bowed himself before the writer. I must draw your attention to this aspect of Ranga. Here, aspect is a feature or the quality of Ranga's character. He knew when it would be to his advantage to talk to someone. Here, Ranga was knowing that when he is talking to an elderly person, how he has to talk to them. He has to join their hand, he has to bow himself, and then he has to take their blessing. A rightly assessed people's worth. Here Ranga is knowing the importance of the people, right? As for his namaskara to me, he did not do it like a present day boys. How present day boys they are doing? They just put a head like this, little bit they'll bend, and then their eyes towards the sun, then they standing stiff like a pole without joints, jerking his body as if it was either a wand or a walking stick. Nor did he merely fold his hands even, right? So nowadays boy, they do namaskara in this form. But what writer is saying? What Ranga did? He bent low to touch my feet. May you get married soon, I said, blessing him. After exchanging a few pleasantries, I left. So writer, when he talked to Ranga, he just, when Ranga bent down, writer had given him the blessings of get married soon, and pleasantries is little bit chatting or talking, and then the writer left the place. That afternoon, when I was resting, Ranga came to my house with a couple of oranges in his hand. A generous, considerate fellow, a very kind fellow, and very noble fellow, he came to the house of the writer. It would be a fine thing to have him marry, settle down, and be of service of society, I thought. Seeing Ranga, writer thought that he is a very good man, he is very generous, a considerate fellow, never harming anyone. And then what would be the fine thing for him? To have him marry, settle him down, that could be the service for the society. And for a while we talked about this and that. Then I came to the point. Rangappa, when do you plan to get married? I'm not going to get married now, he said. Why not? The writer is asking. I need to find the right girl. I know an officer who got married only 6 months ago. He's about 30 and his wife is 25. I'm told they will be able to talk lovingly to each other. Let's say I married a very young girl. She may take my words spoken in love as words spoken in anger. See the thoughts of Ranga. He's talking about an officer who got married only 6 months ago, and he's saying that officer was 30 and the wife of the officer was 25, and as told that they are talking lovingly to each other. But what about Ranga? If he is going to marry a young girl, a very young girl, then any words spoken in love also, that would be taken by the girl as if it is spoken in anger. Recently, a troupe in Bangalore staged the play Shakuntala. There is no question of Dushyanta falling in love with Shakuntala if she were young, like the present day brides, is there? What would have happened to Kalidas' plays? If one gets married, it should be to a girl who is mature. Otherwise, one should remain a bachelor. That's why I'm not marrying now. Now, here the writer, the Ranganath is talking about Dushyanta and Shakuntala, the love of Dushyant and Shakuntala. He is saying to the writer that if Dushyant would marry Shakuntala, who was very young, how they would have loved each other, and that is why what would happen to that Kalidas's play, and that is why what he is saying, that if one is going to marry, he should marry a girl who is a mature girl, Otherwise, one should remain a bachelor. That's why I'm not married now. Is there any other reason? The writer is asking thee. A man should marry a girl he admires. What we have now are arranged marriages. How can one admire a girl with milk stains on one side of her face and wetness on the other? Or so young that she doesn't even know how to bite her fingers? Now again Ranga is having his own thoughts. He can't marry a girl who is so young drinking milk and then having that milk stain on the one side of her face and one side of the face is wet, so how he can marry to that girl who is not knowing even how to bite her fingers. So now the writer was surprised. He said, one a neem fruit, other a bitter gourd. You see the comparison they are making. Neem fruit so small and bitter gourd so long one. So here they say that you can't marry a neem fruit and a bitter gourd. Exactly, Ranga said and started laughing. I was distressed. The boy, who I thought would make a good husband, had decided to remain a bachelor. After chatting for a little longer, Ranga left. I made up my mind right then that I would get him married. Now, writer was found that this boy should get married, and that is why, anyhow, he started planning about his marriage. Rama Rao's niece, a pretty girl of 11, had come to stay with him. She was from a big town, so she knew how to play the veena and the harmonium. She also had a sweet voice. Both her parents, both the parents of the girl had died and her uncle had brought her home. Ranga was just the boy for her and she the most suitable bride for him. Since I was a frequent visitor to Ramarao's place, the girl was quite free with me. Now here writer, as he had took the firm decision of getting married of Ranga, he started thinking about a girl, and the girl was a niece of Rama Rao, who was a pretty girl. She was of 11 years old and she was from a very big town. She was knowing how to play veena and the harmonium, and also she was singing in a very sweet voice, and that is why writer thought that this girl was the perfect match for Ranga. And as the writer was a frequent visitor to Ramarao's place, the girl was quite free with the writer. And that is why I completely forgot to mention her name. Ratna it was. The name of the girl was Ratna. The very next morning I went to their house and told Ramarao's wife, I'll send some buttermilk for you. Ask Ratna to fetch it. Now here the writer went to the Ramarao's place, told his wife to send Ratna to his place as he was going to give some buttermilk for her. Ratna came. It was Friday and she was wearing a grand sari. I told her to sit in my room and requested her to sing a song. I sent for Ranga. You sent the message for Ranga. While she was singing the song, Krishnamurti in front of my eyes, Ranga reached the door. Krishnamurti here, the writer is talking about the Ranga, and then as the girl was singing inside the room, and here Ranga he reached the door in front of the writer. He stopped at the threshold. Threshold is the entrance of the house. A wooden strip kept in the entrance of the house. He did not want the singing to stop, but was curious to see the singer. Carefully he peeped in. Peeped in means he looked in. The light coming into the room was blocked. Ratna looked up and seeing a stranger there, abruptly stopped. Ratna was sitting inside the room. She was singing, but Ranga, He was not able to stop himself to see who was the singer, and he peeped inside the room as the room was blocked with the light. So Ratna looked up and she saw the stranger, and she stopped suddenly. Suppose you buy the best quality mango. You eat it slowly, savoring its peel. Before biting into the juicy flesh, you do not want to waste any part of it. Before you take another bite, the fruit slips out of your hand and falls to the ground. How do you feel? See, the writer is giving the example about the mango. Right? The best quality of mango, you like the fruit and you want to eat it very slowly. Each and every bite you want to enjoy. One you have finished and the other one you are taking. But before you take the bite of that, what happens? The fruit slips out of your hand and falls to the ground. That's what happened to Ranga. Ranga's face showed the same disappointment when the singing stopped. Then he said, "You sent for me? That means you sent a message for me?" he asked as he came in and sat on a chair. Ratna stood at a distance, her head lowered. Ranga repeatedly glanced at her, looked at her. Once our eyes met, and he looked very embarrassed. No one spoke for a long while. Now Ranga was confused. He saw the girl and he was seeing her. And then he saw the writer also, and then both the eyes met, and there was a complete silence for a long time. It was my coming in that stopped the singing. Now Ranga spoke. As soon as I entered, she stopped the singing. Let me leave just for the sake of speaking. Words, mere words, only words. The fellow said he would leave, but he did not make a move. How can one expect words to match actions in these days of Kali? Writer is saying this, right? Ranga, he said that as soon as I entered, the girl stopped singing. So now let me leave. But he was not standing up from his place. Ratna ran inside, overcome by shyness. After a while, Ranga asked, "Who's that girl, Swami? Who's that inside?" The lion wanted to know. Now, writer is repeating the same words. "Who's that inside?" The lion wanted to know. The he goat who had taken shelter in the temple replied, "Does it matter who I am? I am a poor animal who has already eaten 9 lions. I have vowed to eat one more. Tell me, are you male or female?" The lion fled the place in fear, it seems. Now, writer, once again, he is telling a story of a he goat and a lion. So, here he is saying that the lion was asking, "Who's that inside?" And what is the answer of he goat? What is the matter? Does it matter? Who am I? I am a poor animal. I am already eaten 9 lions, right? And one more I am going to eat. So tell me now, you are a male or a female? And then after listening the answer of he goat, the lion fled the place in fear. So like the he goat, I said. Now here the writer is saying that I was the he goat. What does it matter to either of us who she is? That is not the matter. I am already married and you aren't the marrying kind, right? Now writer is telling the same answer to the boy, because earlier he said that I am not ready to marry, I am not going to marry, and that is why writer said I am already married and you are not going to marry. So now what is the matter? Who is she? Very hopefully he asked, "She isn't married then?" His voice did not betray his excitement, but I knew it was there. Now see Ranga. He was not able to hide his excitement, and that is why he asked that she isn't married. She was married a year ago, the writer said. His face shriveled like a roasted brinjal. After a while, Ranga left. Shriveled means dried up. The face was dried up like a roasted brinjal, and he left the place by giving an excuse that I have a work at home. I went to our Shastri the next morning and told him, keep everything ready to read the stars. I'll come later. I tutored him in all that I wanted him to say. Tutored him means taught him. Whatever the things he was going to speak the next day, writer taught him on that day. I found no change in Ranga when I met him that afternoon. What's the matter? You seem to be lost in thought, I say. Nothing's wrong, believe me. Headache? Come, let's go and see a doctor. That day, writer visited Ranga, but he was not well, and as if he was lost somewhere, and writer asked him about his headache and told him that if he is having headache, they can go to the doctor. I have no headache. I am my usual self. I went through the same thing when the process of choosing a girl for me was going on. But I don't think that could be a reason for your present condition. Now writer told him that it's okay, it happens. Because when I also went to choose a girl for me, it happened the same thing with me. Ranga stared at me. Come, let's go and see. Shastri, I suggested. We will find out whether Guru and Shani are favorable for you or not. Your Guru and Shani as the stars, Jupiter and Saturn. So they are saying, let's go to the Shastri and we'll find out are they favorable for you or not. Ranga accompanied me without any protest. And as soon as they went to the Shastri, Shastri exclaimed, what a surprised Shyama! Your Shyama is the writer. Haven't seen you for a long time. Shyama is the none other than your servant. That means our writer, our narrator of this tale. I got angry and shouted, what? Only this morning, Shastri completed my sentence. You finished all your work and are free to visit me. Now, Ranga was there with the writer. The writer forgotten that he has visited Shastri in the morning, and then they should not reveal this to Ranga. And then Shastri, he completed his sentence that you finished all your work in the morning. Now you are free to visit me. Had he not done so, I would have ruined our plan by bursting like rains that are kept in the sun to dry. I was extremely careful of what I said afterwards. Shastri turned to Ranga. When did the young son of our accountant clerk come home? What can I do for him? It's very rarely that he visits us. Take out your paraphernalia. Our Rangappa seems to have something on this mind. Paraphernalia is a trappings associated with a particular institution or activity that are regarded as superfluous. Can you tell us what's worrying him? Shall we put your science of astrology to the test? There was authority in my voice as I spoke to Shastri. He took out 2 sheets of paper, some cowries and a book of palmyra leaves. Palmyra leaves are the palm tree leaves. Saying, a verse is an ancient science, Ayya. There's a story to it, but I won't tell you that story now. This is not a Harikatha. Harikatha means a story of a lord, which allows you to tell a story within a story. You may get bored. I'll tell it to you some other time. Shastri moved his lips fast as he counted on his fingers and then asked, what's your star? Ranga didn't know. Never mind, Shastri indicated with a shake of his head. He did some more calculations before saying in a serious tone, It's about a girl. Now see, as if he is bringing out the solution of Ranga's not feeling well. And he's saying that Ranga is disturbed because it is about a girl. I had been controlling my laughter all this while, but now I burst out laughing. I turned to Ranga. Exactly what I had said. See the thing? What is the solution? I told you earlier when I went through the process of choosing a girl for me, I was having the same troubles. Now you are also having the same trouble. So now then again narrator is asking, who is the girl? It was your humble servant who asked the question. Sastri thought for a while before replying. And then she probably has the name of something found in the ocean, Kamala. Maybe. And then again he said, could it be Pachi or a moss? Must it be moss if it's not Kamala? Why not pearl or Ratna, the precious stone? Ratna? The girl in Ramarao's house is Ratna. Tell me, is there any chance of our negotiations bearing fruit? Right? If writer is now asking to the Shastri that he has to find out whether any possibility is there of negotiation that brings the fruit. Definitely, he said. After thinking for some time, there was a surprise on Ranga's face and some happiness I noticed. But that girl is married, the writer said. Then I turned to him. Again, Ranga's face had fallen. I don't know all that. There may be some other girl who is suitable. I only told you about what our Shastra indicated, Shastri said. We left the place. On the way, we passed by Ramarao's house. Ratna was standing at the door. I went in alone and came out a minute later. Surprising! This girl isn't married, it seems. Someone told me the other day that she was. What Shastri told us has turned out to be true after all. But Rangappa, I can't believe that you have been thinking of her. Swear on the name of Madhavacharya and tell me, is it true what Shastri said? Now the writer caught Ranga. He went inside, he came out in a minute, and then very surprisingly he started talking to Ranga that the girl isn't married. Someone told the other day that she was married, but now whatever Shastri has told, that has turned out to be true. And then he told him that Rangappa, tell me clearly, swear in the name of Madhavacharya. Madhavacharya was an exponent of Vedantic philosophy from South India. And then, I do not know whether anyone else would have been direct, Ranga admitted. There's a greater truth in that Shastra than we imagine. What he said is absolutely true. So now Ranga admitted that he was ready to marry Ratna. Shastri was at the well when I went there that evening. I said, so, Shastrigal, you repeated everything I had taught you without giving rise to any suspicion. What a marvelous Shastra yours is. He didn't like it at all. What are you saying? What you said to me was what I could have found out myself from the Shastras. Don't forget, I developed on the hints you had given me. Tell me, is this what a decent man says? And then Rangappa had come the other day to invite me for dinner. Now the writer, when he went to Shastri that evening, Shastri was sitting at his place, and then writer he said that whatever was taught to Shastri, very nicely he had spoken without any confusion, without any suspicion, and it was a very good work. And whatever he spoke about Shastra, that was also very good. And then the writer, then the Shastri, he also said that don't forget, I developed on the hints you had given me. Whatever the hints of Ranga and Ratna were given to Shastri, Shastri worked on it, and then he came out with the conclusion that both the boy and the girl were very good match for each other. And then now again come back to the present day. Rangappa had come the other day to invite me for dinner, and writer asked, "What's the occasion?" "It's Shyama's birthday. He's 3." Now who was the Shyama here and who was 3 years old? Shyama was the name of Rangappa's son. Rangappa and Ratna, they got married. They were a very happy couple, and they had a son of 3 years old, and the name given to the son is Shyama. "I am like a dark piece of oil cake. Why did you have to give that golden child of yours such a name?" Now he is asking, your child is very good looking, he is a golden child. Why you have given him the name Shyama? What a childish couple you are. Ratna and you. I know it is the English custom of naming the child after someone you like. Yes, the writer agreed that it is a custom, an English custom, when the person you admire the most, you like the most, they name their child after that name of the person. Your wife is 8 months pregnant now. Who is there to help your mother to cook? My sister has come with her. So now Ratna and Rangappa, they were going to have second child, and Ratna was 8 months pregnant, and the sister of Ranga, she came to his place to help. I went there for dinner. Shyama rushed to me when I walked in and put his arms around my legs. I kissed him on his cheek and placed a ring on his tiny little finger. Allow me to take a leave of you, reader. I am always here, ready to serve you. And you were not bored, I hope. This is what the conclusion of the story the writer is giving. He went to the Ranga's place, he had a dinner with them, and then he left the place. Now he also presented a small ring to the tiny little finger of Shyama, the son of Ratna and Ranga. And now he is taking our permission, the reader's permission, to take a leave, ready to serve you, always there to write for us. And he's saying, you were not bored, I hope. Yes, we were not at all bored. It was such a humorous story. Way of writing is such a lovely that we all enjoyed the story very well. I hope you all have understood Ranga's marriage properly. Thank you.